Thanks very much, Karani. Good evening, everyone. Last year, KTN's investigations team aired a daring expose of the cover-up that followed the seizure of Kenya's largest ever cocaine haul in December of 2004. The KTN investigations desk delved into the events surrounding the discovery of tons of cocaine in Malindi and in Nairobi. We reported on how senior government officials frustrated the efforts of their juniors to prosecute those behind the largest cocaine seizure, and how 5 law enforcement agents were shot dead under mysterious circumstances. Now, despite such damning indictment on the state, the government has not been moved into action. Tonight, on the Inside Story, The Untouchables, we revealed the real identities behind the faces of the infamous Artur brothers who came, saw and made a show before exiting the country. The men were here with the blessings of top government officials. KTN's senior investigations reporter Dennis Onserego now reports on the connection of the Artur brothers to the 6.4 billion shillings worth of cocaine and why they took part in a raid on KTN and the Standard newspapers. Here's part 1 of the Inside Story.
As late as 2005, the Kenyan government had an idea about the presence of 5 foreigners in the country. 5 foreigners the National Security Intelligence Services will later say were potential drug traffickers. 5 foreigners the US Embassy in Nairobi will later say were here to scare people both within and without government, asking questions about the 2004 cocaine seizure. This is The Untouchables, the Artur connection, and it starts right here in the capital.
Akiwa amelala chini, akapigwa jana risasi 14.
Wala watu waliua bwanangu. Wangali tu.
We have actually committed no offense as a government.
Ukweli siku moja Mungu ataitoa nje hivi.
After raids in Nairobi and Malindi in late 2004, police officers discovered 1 ton of what would later turn out to be high-grade cocaine. The raid in Malindi saw the recovery of 700 packets of cocaine. Another 300 packets were found during a raid at a go-down in Embakasi. 2 weeks after the discovery, a senior police officer at the time working in Nyanza province, Mohamed Jariso Godana, received a phone call from the Provincial Criminal Investigations Officer.
So I asked him what prompted for me to be recalled. He was not in a position to inform me. So it's all being a banditry prone area. I told him there are no vehicles or buses plying that route during the night. So after a discussion, I decided to use my vehicle, and I drove all the way. Arriving in Nairobi at around 3 a.m. I went to my house.
The following day, after getting to Nairobi, the police officer realized this was not a normal meeting. His boss had some work that he wanted him and others to undertake.
It was then that the following day at around 2, when we saw the director, who were 4 officers, plus Kavila 5. The other 2 officers are from CID. That is Mr. John Baraza and Mr. Kimelu. Both of them are Assistant Commissioner of Police. It was then that the Director of CID, Mr. Joseph Kamau, informed us that they were summoned by His Excellency the President, him and the Commissioner of Police, following the 6.4 billion seizure containers And the director informed us that the Commissioner of Police had been instructed to institute investigations of senior police officers to ascertain how the container made its way through the port of Kilindini. And detected, yet we have intelligence officers, we have anti-narcotics, we have police, silver dogs, scanning machines. So in view of this one, the Commissioner has appointed you to constitute an investigating team and endeavor to establish where the weaknesses and the opportunities allowing this container to come through in total disregard of the security arrangements at the port of Kilindini.
The team left Nairobi for Mombasa to begin investigations into the cocaine seizure. Godana was chosen for the assignment due to his familiarity with port procedures. In the course of the investigations, the 5 investigators came upon a clearance book that showed the movement of containers from the port to inland depots. The investigations revealed that the entry number 2903 in one entry book showed only 6 containers had been cleared for release on January 2nd, 2005. The containers contained 3,000 bags of what was alleged to have been rice. The rice had arrived from Al Reyes Deira in Dubai. The cargo was to be cleared by Jamam International through West Wing as the agent. The Kenya Revenue Authority register indicated against the tracking number 2903 showed that apart from the 6 containers, at least 18 others had been cleared by port officials. An officer at the port later confirmed releasing 21 containers under that number. Godana says the transaction was suspect.
Casomenting and the KRA register, including KPRs, do not tally completely. Because here you have authority for 6, releasing 18. Further information reveals almost 24. So we became suspicious. So it was after then that we were guided to this godown, which is located in Ganjoni area. When we went there, the owners were very uncooperative. I alerted our coordinator, Mr. Kavila, through our pocket phone. So he sent the deputy OCPD, abandoned by then Mr. Onyango. Apparently is OCPD Moranga as of now. He's a senior superintendent. So we went there. They opened. We requested for documentation of the goods they hold therein, but they gave us documents which were totally incorrect. I took possession of those documents. Since I had my own, I continued with the investigation. I briefed Mr. Kavila that we need enough security. Some officers from Central Police Station under command of an inspector, totaling around 10, were detailed to guard the godowns, and they were to rotate until the investigations were to be completed.
Several port officials were promptly arrested, but days later, another senior police officer was among those arrested. The hunter became the hunted. A team of police officers dispatched to keep an eye on the godown where the containers had been ferried to were recalled. In a week's time, the entire investigation process was wound down. Jarso says that is where his trouble started from.
I was advised by the PPO Nyanza, by then Mr. Bakari, that I have been transferred to Lokita and Rift Valley. I was not ready to take up this transfer because of the investigation I was involved in, the circumstances which surround it, how the firearm were withdrawn from me. I found my security was wanting
The contents of the other 18 containers have remained a mystery, despite police officers having in their possession names and exact location of the godown where the containers had been ferried to. Authorities have been reluctant in investigating the matter. The team investigating the movements of the containers was later disbanded. The police officers asked to return back to their workstation. One of them was later arrested and detained at a city police station for several weeks. John Barasa, the current deputy commandant at the CID training school, was arrested from a hotel in Bamburi. The senior policeman was brought to Nairobi and locked up at Kileleshwa police station for weeks. The officer's arrest was not clearly explained. Godana, whom the police have since termed a deserter, was transferred to Lokitang, hundreds of kilometers away from his workstation. When he complained, he was fired.
I did my best during my career. I was honest to this government. Even to the last minute. I think those people who decided this, I don't know their motive, but I leave that to God. What else can I say?
The rest of the team members were either reassigned new duties, with some being sent to criminal investigations headquarters. The godown where the containers allegedly containing Brazilian sugar were found have since remained intact.
I have nothing personal against Major General Ali. I have nothing personal against Director of CID, Mr. Joseph Kamau. Neither do I have anything personal against Mr. Peter Kabila. All what I will insist, not even today, even in future, let the justice come out in a clean way. What are the content of these containers? Let Kenyans be told. Simple as that.
Almost a year later, senior policeman Hassan Abdullahi was gunned down as he made his way home to Ganjoni area in Mombasa. His killers have never been arrested. 6 weeks into the new year, another senior policeman was executed by his fellow policemen. Erastus Kiruche Murray was shot 24 times. The government at the time termed him as a most sought-after hardcore criminal. An inquest in Eldoret declared that the senior policeman was executed by fellow policemen. The file is now lying on the desk of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Keriako Tobiko. Keriako has not acted on it since. Despite a spirited campaign by the Kenyan police defending the actions of the police officers who killed Chemurei, a court in Eldoret termed his killing as unjust.
Wanangu aliwawa na ikajulikana vizuri ni polisi ndio walimuua. Kinachonishangaza ni kwamba kwa nini hao watu hawajashikwa mpaka sasa hivi, na inajulikana vizuri wale watu waliorganize wakakuja kumuua na wako tu na hawajashikwa.
As police bullets felled Erastus Chemurei in his home in Kitalale, Kitale, the testing of the 6.4 billion shillings worth of cocaine got underway at the GSU Training College in Embakasi. In confidential memos obtained by the Inside Story, the destruction of the largest cocaine haul in East African region was a highly scrutinized affair. Foreign governments were keenly following the events at the GSU Training School. The Kenyan government has shown no interest in investigating the claims of police killings and silencing of their own. Keriako Tobiko was appointed the Director of Public Prosecutions in 2005 as the trials into the 6.4 billion cocaine seizure got underway, has also not been keen in following up on the shoddy prosecutions. Demands of families of the victims, let alone implement the recommendations of the High Court on some of the findings. The same way the drugs gained entry into the country, in the same way several other containers found their way into Kenya. On the watch list of the Kenyan intelligence officials and the Kenyan government were the warning signs of 4 foreigners that the spy agency had branded potential drug traffickers. Just like the 6.4 billion shillings cocaine haul was the arrival of their 2 brothers into Kenya. 4 men in the United States Embassy in Nairobi will later say were here to intimidate those asking questions about the 2004 cocaine haul in Malindi and Nairobi. After 1 year of the drugs being in the safe custody of government security agencies, the decision was reached to have the drugs destroyed. But before the destruction, little was known about the 4 foreigners and their local associates. Up until November 2005, little was known of 4 men who would later cast the Kenyan government in bad light in the international scene. Traveling on passport number AB3 2222423, Artur Margarian arrived in Kenya on the 10th of November 2005. Artur left the country 3 days later for London. His associate, Artur Sargassian, who traveled on passport number AF05999780, entered Kenya on the same day. Mohamed Zakir Omar, described as a business associate, was on the same flight. They all traveled on Emirates flight EK719 from Dubai. The soft-spoken man was not to leave the country until much later. It is however not clear if the days the two visited Kenya was their first entry into the country. Documents that should have identified their movements reportedly went missing after they were allegedly deported. Other associates of the two Armenian brothers, Alexander Park, traveling on a Russian passport number 76-10159, arrived in the country on the 20th of March 2006. He was not to leave the country until his deportation. Dmitry Taschi, traveling on a Moldovan passport number A1518562, arrived in Kenya on the same day as Alexander Park. He was not to leave the country until he was deported. Arman Mohammed Omar, holding an Indian passport number A7608026, arrived in the country on a different flight but on the same day as Dmitry and Alexander Park. Andrei Prulisky, with a Russian passport number 7610148, arrived in the country on the 8th of June 2006. He was not to leave the country until his deportation a year later. The 4 dubious individuals and their associates, some on the radar of serious crimes, back in their country, settled in Kenya, and for 1 year, they went about their business. The brothers had a local contact person, Rajendra Ratilal Sangani, an influential real estate businessman and a man who ran several companies in his name. Raj was the one who would later help their 2 brothers locate a suitable house for putting up. Raju learnt about the 2 brothers from Mohammed Omar while on a trip in India.
Mainly interested in some casino business and real estate. They were also interested in diamond and gold. I told him that's not my line, but I will get you the right people, and so forth. There were so many things that we were discussing on. Basically, they were just trying to see what good return they could get on their investment. They looked healthy, and this friend of mine from Dubai, basically I know him. He has been dealing in Nairobi with many other people, and he's very well off to do, and they basically showed me proof of funds, that they have the funds to invest.
The first house the brothers settled on was this one in the city's Lavington area. The 2 brothers reportedly said it was too open. In total, the inside story has now established the 2 brothers visited at least 10 houses in the city. They finally settled on this one in the city's Levi suburbs of Runda. During their visit, the high-flying guests made several contacts. Top on their list was civil servant Winfred Wangoi. Winfred, who also calls herself Winnie Mwai, is the daughter to this woman, Mary Wamboi, an influential Nyeri Town political activist who has often been seen in public in the company of the armed officers drawn from the highly trained Reke company of the General Service Unit. The public never got to know what these 2 brothers were doing in the country until the 2nd of March 2006, when staff members of the Kenya Television Network at the I&M offices and the Standard newspaper's printing press along Likoni Road were attacked by masked men welding guns. On their bulletproof jackets were the letters QRU, Quick Response Unit, a police outfit. The inside story, as now established, was set up by the 2 Artur brothers. The raid saw the cutting away of computers and other printing materials, throwing printing and broadcasting operations at KTN and Standard newspapers into a halt. The equipment were carried by the media house's van and dropped off at the Runda residence of this woman at the time, only known as Shifana. The equipment, among them the Standard Media Group van, have never been recovered 6 years later after the brazen raid. What is however clear, the government never cared to explain why it raided the Standard Media Group, and after the raid, what was discovered. On the 4th of March 2006, the then opposition political candidate Raila Odinga called a press conference and made startling revelations. Raila claimed there were mercenaries in the country and their sole mission was to assassinate opposition figures.
The Russian embassy has even no business making a statement, because mercenaries are never recruited from governments. Mercenaries are mercenaries. They are soldiers on hire.
But this was not before the then Internal Security Minister, John Njoroge Michuki, startling the nation by admitting that the raid on the media house was a government operation.
We know it is serious. Yes. And I'm telling you, when you rattle a snake, you must be prepared to be bitten.
Is it a desperate step for the government?
Come on. Stop pushing.
What is the next step?
Iko namna hiyo. If you want to rattle a snake, you must be prepared to be bitten by it.
2 days later, the police commissioner Major General Hussein Ali arrived from Seychelles on what was described as official duty.
I'm not aware about any other raid on Friday or any other day, so I cannot comment on that one at all.
Were you aware of the first one?
Suffices to say that no.
Langata Member of Parliament at the time, Raila Odinga, later emerged in another press conference where he claimed the raid at the Standard Media Group was carried out by foreigners.
Could you conceive a situation where Kenyan nationals would go to Britain and then be hired by a section of the London police to go and raid, for example, the premises of the Times of London? Would that situation not be strange to the British?
The people was referring to were these two men, Artur Margarian and Artur Sargassian. By this time, there had been a public outcry over the Standard raid, but the government came out guns blazing.
If we have to go into the Standard, why would we need foreigners to do that? I mean, it's not like a high-level operation to flush out, you know what I mean, people that we cannot or something like that. I mean, we have here the Kenya Army, we've got the Kenya Air Force, we've got the military police, we've got the Kenya Navy, we've got the regular police with their wings of the GSU, you know, we've got the special Reke squad, we've got special CID teams to do work, we've got the administration police, we've got the anti-stock theft unit, we even have the National Youth Service. Why would we need foreigners just to walk into Standard newspaper? You know what I mean?
You cannot leave a matter like this without investigating, can you? And you are the hurry with which you want it done. I don't know why. This is a matter of the rule of law. It is a matter of justice. I mean, we are justice in a distance that is equal to any other.
The government denied the two had taken part in the raid. They were neither at the I&M building, let alone at the Standard offices along Likoni Road. But the inside story can now authoritatively confirm foreigners were central in the planning and execution of the raid. The plan the inside story has now learned was to stop KTN and the Standard newspapers from publishing alleged sensitive stories that touched on the government and the First Family. 6 years later, the inside story now pieces together the events of the infamous 2nd of March raid. The raid had the backing of powerful figures in the government: the late former Internal Security Minister John Michuki, former Presidential Advisor Stanley Murage, and the former Criminal Investigations Director Joseph Kamau, among the people instrumental in the raid. The raid was planned on or about the end of February 2006. The Kenyan government would later deny the quick response unit was the creation of their two brothers, let alone that it took part in the famous raid at the Standard Media House. But Artur Margarian makes startling claims on the nature and scope of their work.
Were you part of the KTN raid? Who organized the entire thing? Were you part of the KTN raid?
I was leading the raid. We do the first look, then we plan in my house, around the house. Then we call the boys for the briefing. We collect the mobiles from the boys. We distribute the weapons for only self-defense, and we execute the plan. It was information we received that after that article of the Kibaki and Kalonzo secret meetings, so it was information that KTN is having articles on the computers ready to publish. We have taken computers to this KICC conference hall where the Alfred Mutua.
During the raid, this man, the only light-skinned person, is seen giving instructions to other hooded men. But the inside story has since established that one of the computers carted away from the I&M offices was later taken to a city building where a young man in his early 20s was forced at gunpoint to insert a new computer hardware. It is not clear what the hard drive contained, but the youngster had to quit his job a week later. Artur says the raid was carried out by the Quick Response Unit, an outfit whose members were drawn from the Kanga Squad, a police crack unit. The two Artur brothers had already convinced the Kenyan government to set up a special police squad armed with guns and vehicles at their disposal. The two were appointed to the rank of Deputy Commissioner of Police, the third highest rank in the police force, with the lady friend of one of their two brothers, namely Shifana Alarakia, appointed as a chief inspector. Investigations by the Inside Story now reveal the two had a team of more than 20 police officers under their command. The appointment of the two as deputy police commissioners was done by this man, the former Criminal Investigations Director, Joseph Kamau, with the blessings of powerful forces in government. Under the law, only the Commissioner of Police will make such appointments, and the appointment must have been subject to other internal police mechanisms. The team was to crack down on serious crimes such as drug trafficking, armed robberies, and money laundering. The same activities the group will later engage in. Moments before the 2nd of March raid on the Standard newspapers, their two brothers converged behind this building. A final meeting took place. Their two brothers had their pictures taken by a senior policeman from CID headquarters. Before the team moved to I&M building, they had first to go to Kijabe Street, where they purchased a few essential goods. This was approximately 8 hours before the raid. The team purchased balaclavas and jackets which were tailor-made and branded with the letters QRU. Walkie-talkies to help facilitate communication were bought from a leading chain store in the city center. The walkie-talkies were able to monitor police communication. Their range was also very wide. But what is suspect which chain store will be allowed to stock such deadly arsenal that will compromise security operations? The group, it is now emerging, had been informed that the Standard Group printing press was on the basement of the I&M building. After discovering the printing press was not there, the same group left the I&M building, but not before terrorizing, vandalizing equipment at the I&M building. The team then left the premises and headed to Likoni Road, where again they terrorized company employees busy trying to beat a deadline of printing the following day's newspaper. They burnt several copies of the newspapers. The public never got to know the real identities of the people behind the raid. The Inside Story now knows them. The Inside Story tracked down a man who had worked for Raju Sangani as his personal driver in 2006. Richard says he was privy to the purchase of balaclavas, jackets and walkie-talkies, pictures to be attached on police certificates, appointing Artur brothers as senior police officers were taken on the 5th floor of Twiga Towers, Raju Sanganyi's office.
George kutoka Scenes of Crime, CID Scenes of Crime, na Raju was there. Now the brothers wawili walikuwa hapo, Sargasian na Marigayan, na the 2 bodyguards from Tanzania walikuwa hapo. Now ilikuwa hii kitu purpose ya kuchukua hizi picha ilikuwa inatakana wakienda pale kuonekana hii raid kwa standard imefanywa na polisi.
Raju Sanganyi, a former committee inmate described as a wealthy real estate businessman, was the man who first brought their 2 brothers to Kenya. The 2, according to him, were interested in construction of low-cost houses in Kenya. Raju was later to oversee the movement of the 2 men. Vehicles from his company and his personal drivers were assigned to 2 brothers, Raju ensuring that the 2 dubious brothers were comfortable in town. The businessman would later claim the 2 parted ways after they were taken over by other forces in town.
Wakati tulitoka hapa tukienda Kanumbo kupeleka Beli for dinner, I was surprised ukifika hapa Nyayo Stadium kuna road block, wanaweka hizo sireni inafunguliwa. Why? So ni kitu na wako na radio calls. Inafunguliwa kabisa, hizi barriers zinaweka kando wanapita. Na mimi nilikuwa naendesha moja ilikuwa mbele.
When they came here, I didn't expect them to have a car, so it was my car which went to pick them up, and once or twice I took them for dinner, or maybe more. At the same time, they used to call me and said, please, if I could send my car. They wanted to go somewhere. And in between that time, when they decided to come, and when they said they want to come and stay in Nairobi, they asked me if I could look for a good car for them.
But the inside story has confirmed Raju was part of the activities. The inside story has for the first time tracked down the Artur pair that firmly put the Kenyan government reputation at stake. A group that was allegedly deported by the Kenyan government.
My name is Mohammed Ali. I am with my colleague Dennis Usarigo. How many Artur were in this country?
Apart from you and your brother?
Apart from you and your brother Arman.
2 Arturs.
Uh-huh.
And then another 2 brothers, Arman and another brother. And Sasha Pak, my other brother, the little bit chubby brother.
Mm-hmm. The 5 brothers.
4.
4 brothers.
What's wrong with?
What's the nationality of all these 4 brothers?
Armenians.
All of you are Armenians.
Armenians. Joseph Kamau, no. But it's because Raju Shangani was our agent on every deal, house, rent, every deal, and his connection in the Kenya is much big than we was new in the country. We don't know what the QRU uniform, balaclavas, only those kind of things been ordered in Raju Shangani office, which we paid, and Raju Shangani was as like a broker, and he was not aware that QRU letters, what was it. We just give him the what we need to print, we pay the bill, we pay his commission, that's it. But it's not Joseph Kamau. Joseph Kamau was not there. I don't know if they know each other, Raju Shangani and Joseph Kamau, they know each other, I don't know.
What was the relationship?
I have never introduced them together. I have never gone with Joseph Kamau to Raju Shangani office. You know, Asians, they cannot keep their mouth shut, and not me, not Joseph Kamau will be agreed to meet in Raju Shangani office.
Mr. Tool, tell me, what was your relationship with Stanley Murage?
We came by invitation of, you know the story, we came with the invitation to Kenya the second time from the Mama Vinny and Vinny. So during second day of our meeting, they said, "Want to meet you?" So we went to State House. Stanley, I used to meet every second day in his private office, the one opposite States. We used to meet nearly every second day.
Five law enforcement officials were shot dead investigating Kenya's biggest cocaine haul discovery ever. Tonight, KTN continues to spill the beans. Stay with us. The Untouchables Part 2 returns after these few messages.
Turn your house into a home by visiting the Armenian Solo exhibition with fantastic offers on furniture, leather products, handicrafts, carpets and so much more. The Armenian Solo exhibition from 26th May to 8th June at KICC. Entrance and parking is free.
At UAP, we enhance lives across Africa. Insurance, investment management, property investment, and financial advisory. UAP. Better, simple life.
Coca-Cola. Be part of the journey. Here, sharks fight the tides of Victoria, and a bull can defy a pride of lions. Here, the buffalo chases an elusive cheetah. The mighty rhino is found stampeding over snow-capped mountains. 10 years in the making, a natural phenomenon unleashes supernatural abilities. The 15s come of age in the Bamburi Rugby Super Series, live and exclusive to Super Sport. Proudly sponsored by Bamburi Cement.
To get connected, call MultiChoice, DSTV, so much more.
Escape to freedom. Here life is full of flavor, where you can enjoy good health and some of the best food found anywhere.
You belong to me, and I belong to you.
Welcome to Pwani Life. KRA, strength and wisdom beyond borders.
Furahia undugu na uko wetu, na sherekea kazi na bidii yetu, tuvute pamoja, tushirikiane, bega kwa bega tujikaze, tusaidiane.
Breweries Limited, leaders in quality. And now, introducing another